Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. As I mentioned last week, I was going to do a pre-recorded video, but actually I thought I may as well just come and do it live. If you've got your notifications on, it may be that you see this and you jump on anyway. But I thought actually I'll just do it live. But earlier in the day, I have a school concert that I'm facilitating and going to be part of, supporting the children. So I can't do our usual live session at 7:30 and bring a guest on. So I thought I'd make sure that I was here, make sure you had this video available for you when you do it, but just take you through some of the same things that we're doing in terms of sharing the podcast for this week and some good bits of information that may be very supportive for you. So as always, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel. It's great to be able to sort of share that message and make sure that you have all the information you need. And as I mentioned before, that notification bell is really helpful in terms of me coming on at a different time and just you getting that notification of knowing that we're here. And if you're able to jump on and be part, that's always a great thing to do. And as I mentioned, probably around Christmas, we're going to do a couple of extra ones of those anyway, and I'll keep you posted about that. So this week, our podcast was about ONVU Learning with Matt Tiplin, and this was really interesting because it really is about a different way of doing CPD and that idea of how we can sort of do CPD together rather than it being done to you, sort of being done with you and for you. And as you can see there, it's a 360-degree video lesson capture system. And Matt was saying that basically it can be used in any way that suits you. It might be that there's one lesson every now and again. It might be a set time each week. It might be that you have it on a more regular basis, but just gives you the chance for you to be able to see what it is that you're doing within your classroom, maybe notice some things in the classroom that you don't quite pick out when you're sort of teaching in the heat of the battle and that kind of thing. And also from a school's perspective, you can actually have it set up in a way that works for you. And by that, what I mean is you have the opportunity to be able to have one device, which is obviously video and recording and audio, in one room. You can have it in multiple rooms. He said the only real proviso at the moment is it's not really meant for outdoors because of course you've got all the outside sounds and wind and that sort of stuff, but I think that's something they're working on. But basically if it's indoors, depending on the size of your school, you can have it in multiple places or just have it in one, however it's going to work for you best of all. But it's that kind of that continual idea of CPD, that continual way of just sort of assessing what you're doing, having conversations with people in the school, sharing ideas, and having a different way of being able to do that on a regular basis rather than just a CPD day or a CPD evening, a way of kind of keeping that going. So do make sure that you go and check that out. Really interesting because Matt was previously an Ofsted inspector. He's also a governor of a school as well. So he's got a really kind of deep, rich understanding of what it's like to be in school as obviously well as being a teacher as well. So he's got a great sort of idea of what it is to be in education, and now of course he's in this position of being part of ONVU Learning and being able to support them from a sense of what he thought was going to be best and what was going to be supportive for what they're able to offer. And also, as you can see here from the show notes, you can always click straight through to their website, see exactly what's going on as well. So let's just show you that so you can see exactly how that works and all the things that you can do and get involved there. And Matt, I'm sure, will be very happy to give you some support and help if you reach out to him. And there's a great shot of how it can work and what's going to be part of that. So yeah, really hope that was interesting to you, and do let me know your thoughts. So, of course, you could have watched it you could have listened to it on the Education on Fire website, which is where we were before. But also, if you want to be listening to these things on your usual podcast platform, educationonfire.com/listen takes you to this page, and that's an easy click through then to be able to subscribe or follow on whichever platform you like to be able to use. So another thing I wanted to chat to you about today was some of the podcasting shows that I've been on as a guest. You can see here, Great Dad Talks, Still By Me podcast, Coffee Time Again, and From Page to Practice. Different conversations, but a way, if you would like to check those out, gives you a bit more of an understanding of maybe some of my thoughts in covering some of the topics that maybe we don't necessarily cover here, but have sort of inherently sort of given me my perspectives and my ideas maybe that sort of run then through into education. Obviously, Great Dad Talks was talking about that idea of how you support children within education, what it is that we do from a learning perspective, whether it's in school, whether it's at home, and that combination of community and being able to fit all those things together. Deal by Me was interesting because we were sort of talking about the American system and the English system and some of the things. And that was also a theme on Coffee Time for me again as well, very much about the kind of what happens in America, what happens here, and maybe some of the similarities and some of the struggles that the structure of the systems are kind of around the world, but certainly either side of the pond are making a difference. And then From Page to Practice, which was a fascinating conversation, literally about the idea of CPD, the sorts of books you read, maybe the sorts of things you listen to, and how that then gets brought into what it is that you do. And I think my perspective was slightly different than many's because, of course, coming from being a musician, being a music teacher, taking that and also the experience I have from the podcast and chatting to so many wonderful guests, I was able to sort of bring that perspective in as well. I had a really fabulous conversation on there. So there are links to each of these 4 podcasts in the description. So do go and check that out if you want to find out more and have a listen, or indeed some of them on YouTube so you can watch. But yeah, the links are down there in the description. So the next thing I wanted just to point out is, as you can see here, there's a free webinar series going on, and the Global Quality Collective, something which is I'm supporting, something that I'm part of. Please do take a look at that, see exactly if it's something that you're able to go to, something you're to. You can see Inclusion Revolution, Boys to Men. You can see really important conversations, really important ideas of what how we can help and how we can support people in that regard. So do have a look at that. Again, in the description we have a link to be able to go and register for that. And I thought, actually, as our kind of sort of more archive, not many episodes ago, but Nick was on with me talking about the Global Equality Collective. And so I thought I'd share that one with you today, because if you go and look at that, it'll give you, and you can listen to exactly the background behind Nick and the wonderful work that she does, and also how the collective was put together, what it's trying to do, how it's been able to bring people together and support all sorts of areas of this sort of area. And I think this webinar series is a great example of that, of all the people who believe in the same sort of philosophy able to come together and be able to make that part of something which you can take part in. And as always, as I mentioned before, you can click through, go straight through and click on all of those things as well. So yeah, thank you so much. Just a quick one for me, as I mentioned, I wanted this video to be here for anyone who sort of tunes in at 7:30. But yeah, I wanted to share each of those episodes as they go through. Please do also let me know if you would like me to actually post videos of the normal podcast. If that's something that you think would be interesting, do let me know. It's something that is possible. Currently, I record the audio only, upload it to Captivate, who's my host, and then that goes out to all the podcast platforms. On this YouTube channel, there are some audio versions of some of the older ones. There used to be a service that I used that put that on with just kind of a thumbnail, and you could just listen through that way. YouTube has podcasting is changing a little bit within YouTube coming up, so there's some exciting things going on as well. But if you think that actually watching the interviews in real time, not live like we're doing with the Education on Fire show, but actually just a video version of the podcast would be something that you'd like to do, so you're able to witness those as well as just listen to them all as an audio. Do let me know, put it in the comments, because I'll be delighted to find out. And if there's a real sort of desire for that to happen, then once we start recording sort of new episodes and new shows coming in the new year, that's something we could add to our kind of work. So yeah, let me know about that, and look forward to being able to do it. So have a great week. I'll be back next week at 7:30 talking to Neil Morgan, talking about his new book and everything he's doing with Future Action. But until then, thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you again next week.